Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of J3U After Hours, brought to you by Axe and Sledge. Use code J3U. Alex, it's been a little while.
Been a minute. Sorry, guys. It is 100% my fault. We will go ahead and say that. Last week was my fault. Came down with a little bit of sickness and we rescheduled, and then the rescheduled day came about, and I just was like, I literally was like, I have nothing to say. And that was just kind of the mood I was in, and here we are, but we're back better.
Yeah. Then we rescheduled again, and now we're here today.
We rescheduled again. Listen, it's I am fine. I am a-okay. Um, some days it just you know how it is, man. Some days it's just hard to like come to life how we need to for the podcast sometimes. And yeah, I was like, let me just not this week. So um, but we're
I
back.
think it's also like, dude, we're having 100 conversations a week on top of
Yeah.
like everything else. It gets to be a little much. Also, I will apologize for my audio ahead of time. I spent like $100 on a new microphone, and Zoom will not allow me to use it. So we're trying to figure out like a new streaming platform to use. But if we use our other streaming platform, then Alex's camera quality goes to shit. So we're going to probably alternate until we can figure something out. So please forgive me for that. But a lot to dive into, man. How do you avoid monotony and burnout?
Dude, we've had a lot going on. Before we hop into that, um, Logan almost Logan almost died. Did you see Logan was in a car wreck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I forget it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. So I have a client, Logan. He is married to Maddie, aka Madison. Um, Driving a truck, got T-boned, and his truck flipped was how fast, like a big old truck was like how fast the other car was going. Um, and he's like, I'm talking to Maddie making sure he's okay. And he's in the hospital, and I was like, "Well, did you pack your meals?" And he's like, "Coach, I don't think I'll be able to get my cardio in." But then like the Savage was like, like he's like the next day he's like, "You think I can go train?" And I was like, "Please God, no, dude. You were just in a fucking wreck."
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so shout out to them. He is okay. He's back training. Surprisingly, yeah, he was barely phased by it. I think he had a concussion. Um,
You
yeah, yeah.
can't fake heart, dude. You cannot fake
He-
heart.
he's got that dog in him. I told him I was gonna make a joke about it on here, but like it's I'm not gonna joke about it. Yeah, it's just happy he's good.
Yeah.
Um, what life any life stuff with you going anything new, man?
Dude, I have no perception of time. Um, Over the last 2 weeks, I couldn't tell you what's happened, to be frank. Obviously, like I think one thing to address, and I don't, it's sort of one of our topics too, but losing Jason Lowe, that's a bummer. That was super sad. I saw the lead singer of Three Doors Down passed away. That's a super bummer. Um, Finally got on a positive note, sunlight. That's kind of sick, and like some warm weather. So I've actually done chores and been productive and not stayed in my cave of a home. Um, what has happened?
Dude, yeah, that was rough because it was like snowpocalypse, and then it was just like twilight weather, and then people dying. I've listened to Three Doors Down on repeat every day since. Just classic. Oh, we had the Super Bowl. So everyone's like irate at like where the Super Bowl happened, and everyone is like furious about the halftime show. I didn't even watch the damn. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, much less the halftime show. I just don't care because it's not UFC, right? Um, but I'm sitting there like just watching the comments and like I could give two fucks either way, right? But in my head, I'm like, I know if y'all put some fucking Daddy Yankee on and like gasoline came on, we
Oh,
would be erupting
dude,
with joy. Yeah, dude. So like, let's not act like let's not act like we don't get down, with the Latina side, right? Like some fucking
Hero. Like what? Where do
dude.
we lose sight of that? Like
I mean,
it's
last year we had Venus Williams crip walking out there with Kendrick Lamar. Like what? Why can't we have some Latina fun too, right?
Snoop Dogg is crip walked up there too.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. It's just like it's just something to just like be mad about. It's like, what do y'all? I mean, now granted, 2004 or 2003 Creed or 2001, whenever that was. I mean, yeah, that's like vintage, awesome.
Right.
Um, yeah, but
It was a
like,
different time though, like war with the Middle East, etnies, you could smoke cigarettes in an Applebee's. It was gas prices were sub $2 a gallon. It was a different time, a better one, in fact.
you know, but like stuff like that just blows my mind, man. Um, Another thing that blows my mind, how do you think they like store all those Epstein emails? Because like Google, like Gmail tells me I have to buy more storage all the time. And
Mhm.
I have like 1,000 emails. So like if you have 3 million, do you think it's like on its own computer, like its own hard drive?
It's got to be, dude. Every time I upload an episode, I have to delete an old one
Yeah.
on a
Like
desktop.
what fucking cloud are y'all working with? Because like we don't have that cloud.
I don't. They can. I don't want that cloud. That
That's
cloud can stay.
that's the
Way.
real suspect. It's like where do y'all keep these fucking files? Oh man. But yeah,
Yeah, lots happened, guys. Here we are.
yeah.
I
Back
didn't even know, dude. To be honest with you, it was last Thursday. I was like manically going and running errands because again the weather was nice, and I went on a walk and touched grass. And I went into Publix and I looked around and I went, the Super Bowl is probably this weekend if I had to guess. I didn't know it was last weekend. I didn't even know who was playing until I was in Publix because I'm just so disengaged from that. Um, I watched it. It was very boring. It was not a good game in the slightest. Um, yeah, I'm just very disconnected from all of that.
yeah. Same here, dude. So yeah, that kind of catches us up on like what's happening currently in February. Um,
Yeah.
I do have a question. This actually is just in because I'm going to be a part of this research study at UAB, and I'll talk more about it later. They're not researching me; I'm helping the researchers. Question is though, if you could perform any research study on human subjects, legality and ethics don't matter.
Oh,
What
okay.
what would it be?
See, that's tough. Because my answer is a story. It's not good. It just bear with me on this one. I used to work in jewelry. Okay. When I worked in jewelry, I was also a bench jeweler, meaning I had like a little station. I wore the magnifying glasses. I worked on watches and built and repaired jewelry and shit. Right. I worked with two other guys, Rance and Joe. Rance was like late 60s. Joe was probably early 70s. And Rance retired while I was working there. I was super sad. He was super chill dude. He was awesome. And I can't. I can. I'll tell most of the story because I forget my father listens to this. Um, so Rance went to UNC Chapel Hill back in the 70s, and his roommate got the funding because he had a theory that the active ingredients in LSD could cure cancer. And so they flew him out to somewhere in Germany, Munich maybe, and he got thousands of gallons of the active ingredients to make acid. And he came back and made like 50,000 tabs of acid. And that's as much of the story as I'll tell you. That's all you need to know. So I think I would do clinical research on primobolan and a lot of it.
All that just to come back to Prima Bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to run the research on Prima Bullet just so we could have like government funded and actual Prima Bullet.
What I'm saying, dude. So
Yeah.
much of it. Yeah. What about you?
Man, if This is so good. I would love to monitor. I would love to like create a study, and I don't know how we would do it, but I would love to create a study of like what part of like if we were to take someone throughout a contest prep, I would love to see at what phase they become healthier, healthiest, and then the most toxic. And I would love to see like long-term evidence on like it like what's worse on an athlete? Is it the preps or is it the more because I personally think it's the closer we are to like having metabolic syndrome and obesity, like from a like statistical like body metric standard. That's what I think more of the issue is than it is the actual contest preps. But I would want to see like the data on like, hey, like which is worse, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would. I mean, from a lab work or lab marker perspective, I would say like max off season is significantly worse, right?
Yeah.
I would say like if I'm giving theory, I'd say 20 to 12 weeks is probably healthy. 12 to 8 is probably healthiest. 4 to peak week is probably the worst. But it's also looking at like the administration of drugs, right? Like I think looking at from like a oxidative stress perspective, because it's like, is the last 4 weeks are we plugging in every oral and tren or are we not? Like I think that's like really the deciding factor of like how extreme and unhealthy it goes in that range. I think that'd be interesting to see too. I would say, oh, what's another one? I think anything in that capacity would be fascinating because you always hear people like, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. People will say that you can't grow into a show. I I
Yeah.
I disagree. I think you can because if you to your point when we look at lab markers, it's like when we're in off season, we do a cleanup phase to reinstill insulin sensitivity and then also to like drop oxidative stress so that we can grow again. Why are we not doing the same thing contextually then and then also having a higher androgen load because we're titrating into a show?
Yeah. I think there's a great window of like weeks 12 to 4 where you feel good. You're like you're thriving and firing on all cylinders and sleep's good. Like I think everything's good and you're so efficient. And I do think you are healthy, the healthiest, given like harsh orals aren't in just yet. Like I think that's a prime time. But again, if I could have government funding for a study, that would be what I would want to see. Um, because yeah, I think where like the killers come in would be a prep, like of a prep would be the weight cuts or the diuretic usage.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you on that. So government, I know you got a lot on your plate right now that you're not going to address, but if you want to fund Alex's research, fund my premium bowl.
Yeah, hit us,
Because
hit us
we
up.
are not doctors, but could be. All right. How do we avoid monotony and burnout? I don't think that you do. I think you have to learn to manage it.
Yeah, you just you have to embrace it, and like this is with anything in life. And look, I know I'm not the most normal person, I would say, like from a mental and emotional standpoint. But there's some times where like, and you know, I've been through some a lot of shit coming up and just in life, and I just remember one day like I was just trying to like talk myself into like having good days and this, that, and the other. And I just came to this realization is like, you know what? Sometimes I do feel like you just need to put your hood up and just be pissed off and you just embrace what it is. Like embrace the down, embrace the being sad or embrace the being pissed off or embrace the whatever it is. And just it's okay to live there for a minute. It's not okay to stay there but like rather than like fighting it and like being down on yourself that you're down or that you're not happy or whatever. And so I think the same goes to like when you're running into a rut with like motivation and training. Like, we've mentioned this several times, like, oh, just take an extra couple of days off, take a week off, eat a free meal, like don't track your food for a couple of days. But I think the reality is sometimes you just need to like suck it up. I know Gru's like so cute. I think you just need like, and I don't say suck it up. It's like, oh, just suck it up. But like some days you just have to go when you don't want to go.
No, it
And
is.
yeah, and that's not me being like heartless, but it's like I remember having a conversation with this girl I dated like a long time ago. And she was like, "Well, I just assumed that like you always like were on in the gym." And I was like, "No. Like I like there's plenty of days I don't want to go. I don't just get there and it's beast mode and you go. Like there's plenty of days I don't want to. But the difference in like me, you, and like good athletes is like we just do it anyway, and no one else can tell that we're probably not having a good time.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like that's what discipline over motivation any day of the week.
Fuck motivation. Like and I feel like I will also say too, I'm so tired of people on social media like things that aren't talked about often. Motivation over discipline. We always talk about. Everybody fucking talks about it. It's been a thing. We've beat this horse dead into a pulp, but it doesn't. It it comes to a point where it is like I'll be the first to admit there's very infrequently am I motivated. I go get up every morning. I go do cardio. I don't want to fucking do it. I get up every morning. I do not want to go do cardio. I hate cardio. You can ask Alex. I fucking loathe it. I don't want to do it. I pull up to the gym and I go, here we go. And I go do it because ultimately I have to sit there and talk to myself out loud and go, I have to do this because I have a goal. That's it. That's it. And then I emotionally detach for the next 30 minutes and I suck it up and I get it done and I move on with my day. And I have a sense of accomplishment for just doing what I didn't want to do. That applies to a lot of this shit I do every day, all of the time. Like, I'm not a perfect athlete. I'm just somebody who has to consciously tell myself, it's like, I want this. Therefore, the only option is to do this. So if I don't do this, I actually don't want this.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. Dude, there's been like I had my first good workout like 2 days ago. It's been like 2 weeks of shit. Right. Like it's not been good. The weather sucked. I was super depressed, didn't want to go outside. Or I'd get to the end of the day after a long day of work and just like, dude, fuck this. I still would go. And it wouldn't be good. Right. But it was like I was better than nothing. And it's all about compounding wins, in my opinion. But what a lot of it boils down to is emotional attachment. Or to your point, redirecting emotions. Like you, I thrive in prep because I'm very talented at harnessing everything into anger and frustration and rage. If you hear the things that come out of my mouth before a set that I don't want to do, or while I'm on the Stairmaster, or any other time of the day, it is brutal. And that's how I've learned. And it's not healthy, as the sport isn't necessarily either, to get through it. Like you got to kind of like we talk about all the time. My brand prior was die trying, right? Like we talk about being a fucking dog and all these other things. Like you just bite down and you fucking deal with it. Because if this was easy, we would all be Mr. and Mrs. Olympia. We would all look the way we wanted to right now. And that's not what this is all about. It is the pursuit to get to a destination that does not exist, as we are all chasing a perfect physique that we never acquire.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. And that's something like with this, you know, you're gonna have bad days just like you're gonna have great days. But like our job as your coach is to make sure that hey, we didn't have 21 bad days in a row. Cause then it's like, hey, like what are we something's not going right here, right? Like we got to change something from a like, are you okay standpoint, not like a burn standpoint. Um, but in terms of like, I think about it when it comes to like jujitsu, right? And it's just at the time on the mat thing. That's what your belt represents. It's all that. But like, you have to like, there's days that I go and I don't want to go and or there's days that I want to go and like there's not many higher belts for me to train with and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting much out of this session. Or there's days that I go and like there are a ton of higher belts there and I'm like, fuck, I'm not in the mood today. This is gonna be a tough day. But like either way, like you could find a reason to not like it or to not want to go or to be bummed out about it. But you just have to like be emotionless about it. And it's like, what is the objective here? The objective here is I have to go put my time in and get better. And then in turn, when I look back at 5 years down the road, it's like, okay, well, I've achieved this status because of every single day that I'm doing something. And then you look down the line, and it's just like with athletes and competitors, there's people who drop off along the way, and there's people that you surpass, and it's because like they weren't consistently checking those boxes. And that's when great athlete, like I have so many athletes right now in the off season, growing this season, not competing. And I try to like remind them so much, not that they need it, but just be like, hey, I know this is like not the glamorous, not a lot of changes, not much going on, but like I promise you it's going to pay off because
Yep.
it's these long, like check the boxes when it's boring. It's fucking boring. It's boring for me. It's like, hey, all right, doing good. We're up half a pound. Let's just do it again, but it does truly pay off.
Imagine, imagine somebody like in your case with your pursuit of jujitsu or even my pursuit of bodybuilding. Someone's like, you're going to have an X amount of great days, good days, bad days, and terrible days that you have to check these boxes in order to like achieve greatness, like your whatever you're predestined that you want to do in this. Very quickly go, oh, okay, cool. I just got to get through this, and I got to get through that, and I got to get through whatever. I think that applies in a lot of ways. We just don't know what that number is. It's not handed to us day one. If you have to have 1,000 great days and 5,000 terrible days and whatever else, but ultimately it is the reality of paying your dues in this process and like developing as a human, both mentally and physically, is like this isn't easy. I promise you, every person who's done this has not exclusively had great days or good days or whatever. And to me, like the bad days provide more value because it shows you that you actually want to do this. Like it actually matters to you. And it provides like a sense of perspective for the great days. Like when I have a great workout, holy shit, it's awesome because it doesn't happen as often as it used to. Right. Like I trained legs earlier this week and finally didn't have low back pain where I thought my leg was going to fall off. That's a win. It wasn't the best leg day of my life, but as of recent times, I'm like, okay, I can walk again. I can tie my shoes again. There's gratitude. There's excitement for that. Right. So like monotony is just the part of this, right? It's the necessary evil. Like I can calculate if someone was like, what's the secret? If the secret is I've been doing this for 14 years times 52. So I've been doing this for about 728 weeks. I've worked out on average 5 times a week. I've probably put in about 2.5 hours per workout. So I've been in the gym about 10,000 hours,
Hmm. Yep.
right? Like I've eaten God knows how many meals. I've done things. I've missed events, everything else. Like, but it is because we all have free will. We're in a prison cell with the door wide open. That's why I have it tattooed on my hands. I can fuck off and leave whenever I want. And I still sit here every day without even knowing when the next time I'm touching a stage is going to be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, and that's something we talk about in jiu-jitsu. It's like, you have to have 10,000 reps to master a move. 10,000 reps to master a move, right? Typical time on the mat getting a black belt is between 7 to 10 years. So it's like longer than a doctorate degree, right? And so it's like I wish when athletes signed up and was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, my first thing should probably be, are you willing to do this 10,000 times? Are you willing to have 10,000 leg days? Like without missing? Like, are you willing to eat 10,000 meals or like without missing? Like, are you willing to do that? And I think that's just the reality of it is like, this is such a, I heard Darren speak on this on a YouTube short or a Instagram reel. He was saying how like nowadays, like everyone's so confident at like how almost easy this sport is. Like we're back in the day, I started bodybuilding in 2011 and like it was like a hope and a dream to like make it to North Americans, and then now it's like everyone is like, yeah, I mean, I think I'll be at North Americans next year. And it's like, and I wish we kind of met in the middle. Like, part of me wishes I had that confidence back then. But then, like, I think I wish a lot of athletes now had the humility of, like, hey, this takes a lot of time, and you're still not even guaranteed, like, the pro status or reward that you're actually seeking.
I need to find that chart. I sent it to you that we were going to talk about because it applies to this. I was going to use it in the application of people hopping into coaching really quickly. Um, oh fuck, where is it? Dude, we text way more than I realized. Good night.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't.
I forget that it also was discussed like 7 years ago, last time we recorded. The Dunning-Kruger effect. So the Dunning-Kruger effect is this idea between confidence and competency. I'm going to try to have Dylan hopefully put up a picture of this so it makes sense. I love you, Dylan. Smooches. And the idea is looking at this applies to all things in life, but I think it applies a lot to bodybuilding because of how intensive this is as far as development goes. When you first start, you know nothing. And very quickly, and I would say it's like this is over the span of like 10 years, this chart. And like the first year, you hit the peak and you think you know everything. I have been there. Alex has been there. We've all been there. Like time is a flat circle. We will all be in the same spot at some point. And at year one, you're at the peak of what's called Mount Stupid in this chart, where you think you know everything. And that's a very dangerous place to be. We see a lot of coaches in that space too, or people who are wanting to get into this after they do a show. That's the issue. And then very quickly, if you stick around, you hit the valley of despair where you go, I know nothing at all. I don't know a damn thing. And there's so much more for me to learn. I don't know if I can. And then for the coming years, your confidence starts to rise again as your competency develops and you learn more. And that's called the slope of enlightenment. And then we hit the plateau of sustainability. Okay. That's like what it is to be a coach, to be an athlete, to be whatever. Because I was the same. I've been both of those things. I've been that way as a coach. I've been that way as an athlete when I was young, where I won my first show. I was at the peak of stupid, right? I couldn't have been higher. And I thought it was right there. And then for the last 5 years, I've been somewhere in the valley of despair, the slope of enlightenment, realizing I'm not as good as I thought I was. And there's so much more ground to cover. And I'm still developing that way, both as an athlete and as a coach. And
Yeah.
that's okay. It's okay to be on the peak of Mountain Stupid. Sometimes I wish I could go back because it's kind of endearing, right?
Mhm.
Like it's kind of nice, but
Yeah.
that's okay. That's why we're here, right? Is to help guide. I mean, respectfully, I'm not going to tell you on the peak of Mountain Stupid, but it's to help understand like you're not going to know everything in the first year, the first 3 years, the first 5 years. Like I'm 14 years in the gym and I'm still mastering things. And that's what's really cool about this is like there's always so much more to learn if you just stick around for it. You can only technically get better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it's a huge thing. And two, like the game always evolves, right? And like, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the principles we came up upon still work to this day. Then there's new ways of like, not that it has to be done, but there's new ways of looking at things, and luckily we have, Luke and John who are like, you know, trying to break that ground all the time. Um, but then I see on the flip side, like, I was at the gym yesterday. This kid's doing like a single arm, pull and he's doing it wrong. And he's like 150 pounds. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, just like go do some barbell rows and like some pull ups, man. Like, fuck. Like, and that's where I hate to see where the industry is at sometimes because it's like, just, it's okay to be stupid, but like, that person thinks they're smart because they saw someone else doing something that was smart, but they don't know like the idea of like why that movement may work for someone like John or ourselves who actually have lats to connect with, So it's just all in all, man, like we learn, and that's the best thing, and that's how we stay on that like uphill climb. Once you get past it all, is like we're willing to learn and we're willing to adapt and we're willing to understand that we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And even if it's just one way to do something slightly different, we're like, oh, okay, that's different, but that's how you get better.
Mm-hmm. You always have to seek out more. I think it's a very dangerous place to live in any capacity of life and assuming you know everything, right?
Mhm.
Like, dude, we've all been 22, right? Like, we really thought we knew what the fuck we were doing. I didn't. I
Yeah.
still don't, right? Like, and that's a better place to be because I was actually talking to Arlo, shout out Arlo. I was talking to him this week about this exact subject. And it's like, that's where you want to live all the time, is thinking you're dumb because you're open to hearing other ideals that can help develop you better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You can always learn. You can always learn.
that's what's cool. That's what got me into all of this and why I became so like fixated on it when I was a teenager, was because I was like, I can learn this stuff that I think is really fascinating. I can apply it to myself at that point, right? And I can be better,
Yeah. Yeah.
not be the fat kid anymore, whatever it may be, better, be a better thrower, whatever. It's always been that way. So it's like, and it's all free reign right now. It's a challenge in this day and age with how much information is out there to like sift through and know what's right or wrong, or beyond that, what's right or wrong for you at that point in time in your development, right? Because to your point, man, like there's nothing wrong with a single arm lat pull down. That kid's not doesn't need to be there yet, so it's wrong for him in that time.
Yeah.
Beyond the execution aspect of it, right? And that's what I think a lot of people fail to realize is we all want to speed run a pro card, and like that's cool, I guess. But I also know pros who don't know anything about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody cares if they're a pro if they're like boasting shit they don't comprehend.
Yeah. I've seen it. You see it all the time, man.
We are not the coaching police.
God, no. God, no. Dealing with it this week, man. Yeah, and that's the thing though. It's like we're with J3U. Everybody comes to us. We have plethora of clients. We're in an industry where even like we don't coach everybody, but we're friends with people who compete and in the space. And like shitty coaches are out there. And I say shitty coaches in a sense of like there's people who are gonna give you stupid gear protocols. They're gonna give you copy and pasted stuff. They're gonna use AI. They're gonna uh, not literally know what they're doing. They're gonna give you their own diet. They're gonna Shitty coaches is so broad. They could be disrespectful. They could talk down to you. They could be inappropriate with you. Like so, there is a pool of shitty coaches. And unfortunately, like if you were to think, okay, of all of our clients and everyone known in the industry, someone is going to hear or have something happen to them within that shitty coaching pool, and then we're going to hear about it, right? And it's cool to I guess hear about it and yap about it and like, oh yeah, that's great. But my biggest thing is I'm like, hey, I can't save everybody. They have a shitty coach. If they don't see that their coach sucks, it's not my job to tell them. It's not my job I don't promote coaching red flags. I don't, the way I run myself and my business is myself. The way I carry myself is I don't have to point at what everyone else is doing wrong to prove that I'm right. I just
Mm-hmm.
show what I do. You either like it or you don't. That's the bottom line. And so the dude, I had a client yesterday, like, hey man, I'm friends with this girl and her coach, it's her first show. She wants to do 25 milligrams of Anavar and Clen. She's never taken anything before. It's her first show. And I was like, well, sounds like she needs a new coach, buddy. But like, I'm not, it's not my job. Like, while that is shitty, that is not my job to go protect her because if I did, I wouldn't have time to do anything else because the whole industry's fucked. So it's like your people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I met this girl at the gym, man, and she's with this coach, but God, man, like they really need to be with you." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet," but like they follow me on Instagram. They know of a friend that I coach. Like why? It's not my fault that they're not with me.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I don't give a shit that like to what they're doing. And so that's why I say when I'm not the coaching police, like I, I'm not like I don't. It's not that's not my job. If
No.
if they have a bad experience and then they want to come to me, hell yeah, and they'll have a much better experience. But we would get nothing else done if all we worried about was bad coaches and athletes having horror stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and while it's flattering that like our people come to us and want to know where we stand on certain things, and it's been harder for me, like as I've done this longer, I've gotten more comfortable in the same space as you when it comes to this conversation. Before, dude, it like I mean, it still bothers me. Don't get me wrong. Like it's like that's fucking shitty. I don't want them to go through that. But again, it's not my job to message them and go, hey, just so you know, that's not what your coach should do. Because one, I don't want to have to deal with the fucking dipshit and the drama and everything else. And again, it's their prerogative, right? It's unfortunately still all of our discretion of what we choose to do and what we choose not to do, but also what we choose to research and what we don't, right? Like if you don't, if your coach tells you to do 25 milligrams Anavar, I'd probably Google that shit and see if that makes sense and ask around, whatever. That's not for me to do. I have my camp of people who trust in me and pay for my time, and they get my undivided attention, and that's where I have to be. But that's why we started this in the first place. Is like neither Alex and I can coach the entirety of the planet, but we have a lot of coaches around us that we do trust. Like on J3U is obviously, but then even outside of that circle, we have a lot of coaches that we trust. We coach a lot of coaches that we trust, right? So it's like collectively as a body, yeah, we can help a lot of people, but us individually, no, I can't coach 300, 400, 500 people and save all of their days. And what I found this week is sometimes if I post stories, it bothers people. And I don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah, dude, I read it and it was like, okay, repost, and but
I thought it was fine.
and that's the thing, man, is like we could blanket statement so much. Like I'm sure like could listen to our podcast that, oh well, like they're probably talking about so and so. Like maybe, but like most of the time, there's so many. We could put that hat on so many like people that like when unless I literally get on here and I start making like sassy, smirky, like you hear me cutting up or like giggling about it, that's when I'm thinking of somebody. But like when I'm genuinely on here, just like, hey, this is this, that, and the other is something to be aware of. It's probably just because I've seen it or I've
So many
seen,
times.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
could just go down the list and it's like you just take your finger on Instagram and just let it fly. Like you could find something that I don't agree with, you know.
And a lot of times too, it's me almost speaking for my own, calling my own bullshit out from the past, like a different version of myself. Like the story that I was referring to, for those people who didn't see it, I originally made a story talking about how you need to have a duality between ego and id, meaning you can't just live in a state of self-deprecation or in a state of just like glorified ego all of the time. Both are pertinent, both have their own roles in this. Can't be in one or the only one. That was the first story. Then transition to the next one where that was the discussion. As the to me, the art of coaching is understanding somebody's psychology, where they tend to sit of either of those two, and how I can make an impact and pull them into one more often than the other, or when we need to get out of one, we can go back to the other, whatever it may be. That's what I think coaching is. I think anything lesser than that is programming. You can go do that on your own. I've done it on my own for a long time. And then the final story was talking about what we see industry wide, which is the hot words, spreadsheets, systems, data, those types of things. While yes, and I said in the story, while objectively those hold value, objectively, those are objective measures. That's not all a coaching is. To me, it's more about making an impact on somebody, because Alex was successful as a coach using Notes app. I was too. I've been successful peaking people through text message, whatever it may be. But beyond that, there was a time in my coaching career where I drove my only value system being that I had really cool systems. And I look back and I roll my fucking eyes at that kid, because I'm like, whoop-de-doo, dude. You didn't still understand how to always impact people correctly. And that's still something I'm mastering. But that was the whole purpose, because one, it's my bullshit, my past bullshit that I've moved on from and seen better from it. And then industry wide, right? So I'm like, okay, at that point, if you think the shoe fits, I promise you on a Tuesday morning, I was not thinking about you specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like I literally coach people all over the US just like you. So it's like they tell us stuff like, dude, we hear tea all the time about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fun and it's cool to like laugh at and like, oh, that's crazy. But like usually I don't have time, nor do I really give a fuck like what other coaches are doing. I think there's like five coaches who I keep up with in a sense of like what they're doing with like athletes wise, like kind of who I look up to and stuff. But outside of that, like I could care less. Like 99% of the time, people are like, do you know so and so? And I'm like, who? And like, they work with so and so, and I'm like, who? Like that is me. I don't, and maybe it's a bad thing, but for me, it's a good thing because like I just don't care. Like I don't have time to care.
That's what I was gonna say. We have enough to like pour into our people and into J3U on a weekly basis. Like my hours are full. I don't need to go look and hunt some bullshit down. When oftentimes it's just kind of thrown to us, and it's usually like, oh, haha, that sucks. Move on, whatever. Like, so be it. That's their their discretion.
Sign up,
Um,
sign up for the J3U forums, and you can see a lot of issues that clients deal with from other coaches. and,
mhm.
and issues that they've run along with it. That's all it is. It's like, hey, how can John and Luke fix their problems? But like it's not like we scroll through there and are like trying to out other coaches because a lot of times, like, dude, like there's some you you hear John speak on uh Stefan or Stefan, he doesn't say anything negative. He could, I'm sure. Just like we hear a bad story about a big name coach, like, but that's not how we carry ourselves professionally because like there's no point. Like, just like we said in that episode of like the Texas T episode, like they're gonna have athletes who ride or die for them regardless. So like just like it like when I was doing stuff on email and on a notes app, like people ride or die for me then. Like it's a waste of energy,
Yeah.
is we'll leave it at.
How do you go about cheat meals?
This is a great question. So what I've been doing lately for some podcast stuff is taking clients' questions that they ask me throughout the week and putting them on here. So this was the deeper question was, hey, like girls in her off season, she's killing it. Um, and the question was, what day should I do my cheat meal on? Should it be on a rest day? Should it be on like after a back day, before a leg day? And so for me, my wholehearted answer, because she's in her off season, was like it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, is it genuinely doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Well, her glycogen storages could not be any fuller. We could leave her stranded on an island for 14 days and she would come back probably depleted with a little glycogen. But like when you think of muscle glycogen, it is also like body fat as well, right? So it's like, if you're in and you're not going to just blow through it. Like, and that's her food, that's her body fat. It's like everything is associated with glycogen storage. So that being said, it really doesn't matter when you're doing it in off season. Now, in a contest prep, that's where we'll strategically place high days or refeeds or free meals around certain training and rest because there's a strategy to like refill you a little bit. But the off season generally doesn't matter. Um, Ty Bender, I have him doing a free meal on his rest day because his training days are already at like 1,000 grams of carbs. So it's like I don't want to. I need him to get all of that food in. So let's add it on the rest day where food's already a little lower. So then the weekly calories are higher. But that's a very like. I mean, I think I maybe have 7, 8 clients like over 700 grams of carbs. Like that's where it kind of applies. But outside of that, like it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, my only especially in off season, my only rule is like not the night before check-ins, please.
Oh
That's
God, yes.
or
Yeah.
like even 48 hours, depending. Like if it's a scheduling thing and it's like, hey, like I check in Fridays, I like to take my free meal Wednesdays. As long as it remains consistent and the free meal is relatively the same, I'll let that pass or slide from time to time. But I generally ask like, hey, let's try to be like 72 hours away from a check-in at the earliest, just so it doesn't skew data. Or if we go try something new to eat and we get bloated and we're inflamed and we just don't really feel confident about ourselves, whatever it may be. That's like my one rule in that. Um, yeah, in a prep setting, it's much different. It's usually timed around either performance wise link, which there's always usually a direct link when I say this, but like it's going to be timed around the primary and secondary prioritized muscle groups. So like, let's say like my chest super sucks, my back isn't that great, and I have push pull leg. I'm going to take it the night of push, so
Yeah.
like you feel have ideally a good push or pull session the following. That's obviously dependent on the person. Um, yeah, that's all. I feel like it's really it for that. Just like not the night before, ideally. Um, what is your insight on the mortality rate revolved around bodybuilding? I bring this up because I see a lot of people shaming bodybuilders lately with the criticism that they're actively killing themselves. I like to believe the sports can be balanced with health. Um, well,
Ooh.
depends where you want to take it and how you want to take it there. I think ultimately, though, as men and women, we have free will to do whatever the fuck we want. So why does it matter to somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of like people commenting on it, I don't give a shit about that. Not to my boy asking the question, but just the people talking about it. Um, I would say, can this sport be done? The sport can be done as healthy as the sport can be, but the sport is not healthy in any facet. I don't think, I think mm, it's not healthy natural either. I'll say that. Like it's definitely like so, but when you're doing it enhanced, you have to do it as healthy as you can. And so a lot of times what we look for, and it's mostly guys or have like the heavily muscled females or the guys. It's the heart and the kidneys, and those are if you've been taken an anatomy and physiology class, those are highly correlated together. Um, so like it's just a lot of warning signs like shortness of breath, watching your blood pressure, watching your blood sugar, watching your waist circumference, getting echocardiograms done. There's a deep dimer test you can get done. There's a lot that you can do to do this as healthy as possible. Um, Now that being said, like I work, like I have, fucking Neely's 320, Austin Brown's touching 280. Like, so those guys, while I treat them as in like, hey, this is awesome right now, but we can't be this way in 10 years. Right. And so that's where it's like, while it is, I think you can push the limits and you can redline it. And look, Neely ain't doing half a shit of shit. Like it's his drugs are nothing compared to what's out there. But just in general, in terms of like being 320, trying to get to 330, he's 28 now, 27, 28. We're not going to do this at 38. So like the gas is accelerating faster because I need to get him to where we're going faster. But again, we have physicians we work with, we have cardiologists we work with, we get things monitored all the time to do it as healthy as possible. But I just think the reality of this sport is like, you got to kind of, I would say you have to be comfortable taking 10 years off your life. I would say that. Um, like I just started like putting the gas on again for some jujitsu stuff coming up because now everyone in jujitsu's on steroids. They're on TRT, which is like a lot of them are on fucking test and trend or test and Anavar. So I'm like, okay, well, like I at least know what I'm doing. So like this is my realm. But um taking things up a notch, my blood pressure's already like 130s over 70. Like, it's not what it was. And that's on 40 milligrams of telmisartan. So, you have to just be wary of like, hey, even little pushes and things, you have to like watch those markers and do what's right about like keeping things in check.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly said. I feel that I made the decision long ago. I say long ago, a few years back, that this is what I wanted to do, and I, with that decision, already accept the repercussions down the line. Um, and that's not to say that I've used that as a reason to go haphazard with anything, as far as like blasting unnecessary gear or whatever it may be. But the way that I look at this is it can be done in a relatively safe sense. You should take this decision with the severity that it could not just be that, and then do all the preemptive and proactive things to ensure that it doesn't become that. Meaning, you do your cardio, you take your supplements, you have like medical monitoring done consistently through lab work and EKGs and whatever it may be, and you eat your fruits and veggies and you walk and you don't do recreational drugs and you don't go out and drink all the time. Like that's how you have to approach it, is that you're doing everything in your power to make sure that you can keep doing this for as long as you want, but then also don't do it for as long as you probably want to. Like, I'm 28 years old. I did my first show at 21. I am probably going to be done like in this realm by my early 30s. And I think that's probably best for me, right? Like, I
Yeah.
graduated high school. Granted, I was obese before, so we won't get in the whole lore of that. But like, I graduated high school like a buck 80, buck 90. I'm 265 pounds right now. I can't, and I have to keep going up for a good little bit. Like, I can't be here forever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that so um with our intern Liz, we're working on like educating her from the ground up on like being a coach and how to build out programs, blah blah blah. But one of the things, like some of her like bonus work was learning what metabolic syndrome is, which is like blood glucose issues, like um, heavy waist, like large waist circumference, high BMI, blood pressure issues, dyslipidemia, all these things, right? And why I made that a big focus for her was because I needed her to already kind of know of the warning signs to look for and what she needs to prepare to mitigate along the way within this industry. Because a lot of bodybuilders can look healthy, but labs can be where like they're showing very poor metabolic health. And that's something that I think is a huge correlation to longevity, not just in the sport, but in life. And so, that's something that it's huge. And even people outside of bodybuilding, like, a lot of the most of the medications are like, statins and, blood pressure meds and like obesity drugs. Like those are very common, killers in the US. Those are also like some of the most common drugs that are prescribed too. And all that can be prevented with diet and exercise. So like at the end of the day, like the problem with bodybuilding is we're forcefully taking it there. Like we're doing things that put us there. Maybe not like from the food standpoint or the exercise standpoint. Like we got that down. But what we are doing is we're pushing our body into unhealthy limits. And so it's just keeping an eye on that and having a coach who is also hard on you to do it. Like literally my check-in form is I need blood pressure, I need blood glucose, you know, just every week, look at it.
It's non-negotiable. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, I think to the other point too is it's as extreme as you want to take this, the repercussions or potential for them just continues to increase. So you either have to work just as hard as to stay ahead of it, or you accept the reality of what's to come, right? And the other part of this that I feel that also needs to be addressed is like this is a lot of why the sport is expensive, right? Like I spend more on health supplements and medications around that to be proactive than I do on the drugs that I take. But I'll argue that my body is more responsive because I keep it in as healthy of a state as I can and don't just be relying on drugs to try to get me there. Like they work synergistically.
Mm.
Um, so it's a lot, right? And it's not for everybody. And that's okay. Like you can still get jacked and look good and not do the rest of this part. That's fine. It's when we push in massive extremes, you're putting your body at risk, right? I think the other point too, and you kind of touched on it, is having a coach that is, obviously health is a priority and staying on top of it. Also having one that doesn't keep you in the extremes forever, right? Like we see the coaches that have their athletes in prep year after year after year, all year long. Or it's the same way where it's like they're maxing out body weight for years and years and years, and there's no sign of a health phase or a mini cut or a pull down or vice versa. Like that's very dangerous. Both are very dangerous in their own ways, mentally and physically. And it's like you can't just constantly redline both extremes. Sometimes we do have to do a health phase, and it's fucking boring. I
Yeah,
hate being on cruise. It's lame, but
yeah.
it's like it's so I don't keel over next week. Anyways,
Dude, I'm the coach that like so I'll out myself here, but I'll randomly ask my athletes like, "Hey, do you mind sending me a group picture of all your health supplements?" And it's totally a pop quiz time. And that's where you find out either A, they're not taking what you told them to take, and you're looking at underdose stuff, and now you have to fix it, or they come up with the truth of, well, or they don't have half of what you suggest, or they're like, well, I don't do a good job of taking it, and I'm like, hey, man, like you're a coach and you're taking EQ and tests. Why are we skipping our blood pressure medicine? Like, I'm just kind of confused here. Like, that's
I
kind
feel
of,
like I
yeah, like
feel like shit doing that.
kind of a non-negotiable, right? But it's those things that like that's why I'm there is for the accountability. It's not for me to tell him he's not good or tell her that, guy, you're so stupid. Why'd you buy the terrible product or the diluted product? They may like, hey, well, I thought it was the same thing, or hey, yeah, sorry, I just needed something cheaper. Okay, cool. Let me come back and either explain to you why that's a poor option to choose, or if it's financial wise, let me just like redo your supplement list where we can like at least have the best of what we can afford.
You just prioritize it. Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna sound very morbid, but like your kidneys don't give a fuck what dark sports set you bought this month. And when if you're on dialysis one day, you're really not gonna give a fuck what
Yeah,
dark sports set you bought or whatever it may be, right? Like
yeah,
that always has to come first and foremost. I will be the first to be willing to potentially discount coaching to make sure that somebody has the means to pay for everything they need on the health side of things to make sure they can keep doing this, because this is a game of longevity. And like if we can't get to the end, we're not going to be able to see what we can really do together, right? um Next one we got, easy and efficient are two different things. So I had a call with one of my athletes who's competing for the first time this year, and super great guy, very very smart, very kind of falls in the science based world, but not like doing stupid variations of shit. But younger, so I think he kind of falls into a camp that we're kind of seeing of misinformation. And we were talking about prep, and like he was like, "What?" Talk like expectations, timelines, those types of things. He's like, "Well, I read that you know." Ideally, we need to start reversing into the show by 6 weeks out. And I was like, I mean, in a perfect world, sure. Like in a perfect world, we're eating all the carbs and doing no cardio and we get peeled. That's not where we're at. I'm not going to promise you that. But then we got through started talking about the discussion of easy versus efficient, where our job as coaches is to make this process as efficient as possible for you, whether it is we are prepping for a show and we're trying to be as efficient as we can with fat loss while retaining muscle, or vice versa. We're trying to grow, we're trying to minimize fat loss and gain as much muscle as possible. It's basically the two jobs that we have. End of the day, my job isn't to make it easy because it's not supposed to be easy. And the way that I explained it is my first prep many moons ago, with less drugs in play, less variety of drugs, less fat burners, all of those things. The last 5 weeks looked identical to my most recent prep, where I started in a better metabolic position. I had more muscle, a wider variety of drugs, and a wider variety of fat burners and peptides to utilize as well. They looked the same 6 years apart, right? Like it still fucking sucked.
yeah,
No difference, right? We can say, oh, well, we can throw in these peptides and we can throw in this fat burner and we can throw in growth hormone, we can throw in these anabolics and do that. My androgen load was much higher this most recent prep. My fat burners were much higher. My variety of peptides was a wide array as I'd not really used them prior. And the last 5 weeks was still nearly no carbs, no fats, and a couple of hours of cardio a day. So we made it as efficient as we could. We did achieve a new level of conditioning, but as far as subjectively, still hard.
yeah,
That's where we can't, if it, again, to the point, if we made it, you can tell, I say this as respectfully as, no, fuck that. You can tell who had an easy prep on stage. And my people are not those people. Your people are not those people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they always, not just our people, but like the athletes who are in shape, they always get the nod, even if they lose. Dude, there's plenty of times I'll pull up beside, hey, dude,
Good
good
shit.
shit. You look great. Same thing with girls. Like, hey, no, you didn't win, but like you look awesome. It just stands out. And I think that's why our athletes do so well is because like at local regional levels, like people are just happy to be there. And we're like, no, this is serious. Like you got to come correct. And it's like, yeah, I remember talking to this guy. He was in my client beat him in his DMs, and he was kind of sarcastically like popping off about it, but not really. And I was like, hey man, like you either come correct or don't come at all. Like I don't know if you thought it was just gonna be easy. It was just an Alabama show, but like that's not my fault. Like I know how I'm coming, so but yeah, that's a very good point. Is like efficiency in everything, whether it be prepping, whether it be training, whether it be eating your food. Like it's just a matter of like doing it with a less amount of stress on your
Yeah.
body versus easy is like, I don't know how you would describe easy, but efficient. Efficient is what I love.
Yeah. My job is we're in a rowboat and you're mostly paddling. I'm paddling some, but my job is to steer and avoid all the shit that we might bump into. But you're the one who has to do the work. And that's why whenever I post about my athletes, it's not I did this, it's we did this. It's I congratulate them because they did the work that I asked of them to do. And I explained it to him as well. It's like inevitably, I'm taking my goal as a coach is to take you to a place that you have never been before. You will not thank me for it then. You will thank me for it after. It will be one day long after you'll say thank you for that because it will teach you more about yourself than you will ever learn on your own. Because there are obviously people who can, very few, John being one of them, who can take themselves there as a coach and coach themselves as an athlete. Every other one of us needs a coach to take us there. Point
Yeah.
blank period. Right.
Yeah.
But it's like you still have to do the work. I am just trying to make sure you only have to do the required amount to get the desired outcome, and we're not going to cause detriment beyond that. But I think now what we're seeing is just too much of this fatigue a conversation and how can we make this easier and this that and the third. It's like, dude, you can't like this again. If it was that easy, we would I if it was that easy, I would have shut up with peeled glutes my first 5 fucking shows, and I didn't. Right? Like it's not easy. It's not supposed to be. That's the beautiful shit of this, and that's what's so gratifying about it. And so I go back and look at pictures of when I was peeled, and I was like, man, fuck yeah, that's cool. Like I did something very few people can do or are willing to do. And it's a beautiful thing when you get to experience that and know that you actually can do that because you can apply it to every facet of life. But it's going to require pain and discomfort. That's a very beautiful thing because it's temporary. It's not forever.
Man, yeah. And dude, you felt this too, man. Like as a just take let's take competing out of it because like we can put this into anything with life, but like some of those show weekends where it's like fucking midnight and we're finally like it's over and you won and you're just like, oh, okay, like I can breathe for a second, like you, and there's no greater feeling. Like I've had that feeling where I'm like, man, nobody's doing this shit. Like
Mhm.
nobody's doing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And it's such a good feeling, but in the moment, it's oh God, I'm tired. I got a headache, I haven't eaten, but like it's all worth it. And it's the same thing when it comes to competing and prepping. It's like I'll update clients' plans and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, dude, how many times have you like, I'm like, hey, buddy, like, I know, but I just need a little more. Like, and it's because like I've been there and I know what I'm writing out is mean. And I know it sucks, but I'm like, if you can just give me a little more, it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth
Yeah, no, it's
it.
well, that's what was so gratifying about last year for me is I was doing both at the same time. Because I
Yeah,
was having show weekends at 4 weeks out
yeah,
and like having to just do it all at the same time. But like there's no better feeling after a show, dude. I'll tell you, man. I've said it before on here. Like I think one other time, like I have cried after every athlete show in the shower that night after finals, just because it's like a moment of like reflection and relief, and like thank God, like that went the way it needed to, right? And like we did our part, and that's like what I live for. But again, leading up to that, whether I externalize it or not, is fear and panic and the whole game of ruminating while they're on stage is like, what could I have done better? What could I have done better at 14 weeks out? Like where, like it's 7 weeks out, should I have done this? Like that's where like we live because this is our shit, right? But that's like what the reflection of what we put up there is. Um, yeah, there were a lot of those days where you'd send me to check in and I would just say, yep, that's
Yep.
yep, here we go. Because those last month was like, yeah, dude, we're ready. We can go win any show, but let's pull down more. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Just gotta make weight, bro.
that's wait, dude, fuck it. Yeah, it's this is I think why bodybuilding is so beautiful is like it's a tangible experience. You live in it, you feel it, right? And I think so many people lose sight of like that. I'm like, why are we getting rid of this? And listen, I'll be the first to admit, like 3 weeks out, this dude's telling me to go do an hour of stairs on no food for the umpteenth day in a row, and I'm just like, I don't even know if I can make it down this staircase to get to my fucking car. Like there was those days where I was like, I don't want to do that. But it's like a beautiful thing to experience because we are far more resilient than we will ever give ourselves credit to. And that's the only way to learn it is you have to live in discomfort. Now, my job is to try to limit the duration of it, both chronically and acutely, but you still got to. Like if we could make this to where we're winning shows at the rate that we do and producing the quality of physique that we do, but it didn't require pain and discomfort, we would be the richest men alive.
Yeah. Yeah. 1,000,000%.
Accountability isn't a coach hunting you down for check-ins. So this was another one I had. We see it all the time, right? Like obviously part of hiring a coach is the accountability aspect of it. I think sometimes there's a misunderstanding of what accountability means, at least in the caliber that we coach at. I think that there are some coaches and that's their lane. And I think it's a beautiful place to be. I was there many years ago when I was predominantly a weight loss coach because of my history with obesity, where the accountability extent is me hunting you down for check-ins, or it's me constantly reaching out, micromanaging in a certain capacity because that's what's required of them. Where we're at, that's not what accountability means. Like my job, you're not paying me that you if you check in with me on Fridays, you're not paying me that at 11:05 on Friday I text you and ask what's going on.
Yeah. Dude, this was a few years ago, I had a lady didn't check in on purpose to see if I would notice and reach out to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately dropped her. I was like, hey, guys, this is when I had like maybe 15 clients. Like I was working other jobs. And I was like, I don't think you understand how this works. Like, I don't, like, that's not my job. Yes, I noticed. I was very annoyed that you didn't check in, but just do it. Like, it's not some psychological game we're about to dance with, you know. But yeah, like, look, you miss a check-in. I notice. I noticed I didn't work as much that day. If you missed two check-ins, I'm wondering where the fuck you're at. I'm disappointed and wondering where the fuck you're at. If you missed three check-ins, I'm contacting billing to kick you off my team.
Yep.
Like three check-ins, no communication, no nothing. I'm like, get the fuck off.
Because you don't give a fuck. And
Yeah,
why do again, like nobody on this planet is paying me enough to give a fuck more about it than they are at that level.
yeah,
Period.
and
Because I have people who give a fuck every day for me and for this process and make me want to give a fuck for them because they care so much. They deserve all of my undivided attention.
yeah,
If you think that's the means to get me to pay attention to you, it's the way that I'm going to kick you off and never think about you again.
yeah. Dude, yeah, and that was like me and our billing girl were talking about it. And she's like, "Did you let them know?" And I was like, "No. Why? I'm not like they don't give me the courtesy of talking to me and communicating with me. Why am I going to communicate with them? Like,
Mhm.
bye, get the fuck out." Because at that point, I don't owe you anything if I'm cutting your billing off, if I'm letting your contract go. I don't owe you a single thing at that point. Now, if I'm still billing you and still charging you, yeah, I may try to spark up some conversation. But that's how I get around it is I'm like, get the fuck off. Here's your money for next month. I don't want it. So yeah, it's if you're gonna disrespect me and not talk to me and not communicate with me, why am I gonna communicate with you? You'll deal with a girl that you never met before and then she's going to tell you what's up, and then you're never going to talk to me again.
Yeah, dude, because it's like why am I required to give you the decency that you wouldn't give me? And on top of that, I'm actively choosing to give up some of my income that month
Yeah,
because of how disrespectful you're being about the process. I'm saying I don't even want the fucking money. Fuck that. Like that's always like, and I don't make enough to be that way that often, but
yeah.
I'm willing to always do that. I'm not, it's never worth that amount of money. Point
Because
blank.
because what we should do is we should charge them. They try to dispute it. We send them to our attorneys and or to collections if the card doesn't go through because they signed an agreement. And that is where, if I was truly mean, that was what I would do.
Yep.
But I'd rather just not deal with the headache. So luckily, I'm a nice coach. But like
Mhm.
that's me being nice is not sending you to collections.
Yeah. Yeah. So it goes back to what we've talked about before. Just communicate. Life happens. I've had people miss check-ins, and that's okay. Like that's fine. But if you don't talk to me about it, I promise you right now, you are more liable to be chased by a dog. Probably not that one because he doesn't run a lot, than you are to be chased by me.
Yep.
I wouldn't hear for anymore. Alex, what's your favorite quote to live by?
Oh,
If you don't
I
say
like
die trying,
I like live by the sword, die by the sword.
you're going to say that one
I
too.
love that one. Um, there is a so I've got it on my gi. I got a gi that's like blacked out from when I get my black belt. It says "Born to Rule" on it.
Mm,
But the whole quote was "Born to Rule, Raised to Fight." And if I were to ever get a tattoo, it'd probably be "Born to Rule" on my back. Be so sick.
he's good at that too. It'd be so cool.
I know, man. I just can't commit.
You don't want to be a degenerate like me. Um, I'm trying to think of, I mean, obviously, if I'm choosing the lowest hanging fruit, it's die trying, as I have that tattooed on me a couple of times. And for those who are not aware, that was my brand prior to um, joining J3U, and it came from this. I'll have to like find the post and like put on my story or something. Um, so die trying came from this revelation, I guess I had many years ago of trying to understand, I think, who I am as a person and what drives me, because I am highly obsessive about things that I like concerning, like, clearly concerningly obsessive about things I like. And it's been different things throughout my life, whether it's been sports or hobbies or whatever. It's always been what's kind of given me purpose and identity, because I've always struggled with that. Is I grew up, like, I was very bullied, I was very isolated, didn't really have a lot of friends, and through all of that, that purpose is what's kept me alive through mental health issues, through substance abuse, whatever it may be. Um, and I was fortunately raised in a home where that was kind of accepted, right? Like my parents never really agreed with bodybuilding as being an obsession. They didn't comprehend it, but like every other hobby I had, my dad's always just been like, just be good at it. Like if you're gonna do it, just be good at it. But obviously, like kind of high school, early 20s, whatever, I faced a lot of adversity for just like continuing to choose this, especially when I didn't have a physique where it made fucking sense for me to choose this. Everybody's like, why are you so obsessed with this? And so I was driving to, I remember I was driving to Chattanooga to one of my friends' houses, and I was literally like actively talking to myself. Um, and I had the revelation that, those passions gave me purpose. That purpose is what's kept me alive to this day. So why would I not be willing to die trying for those things? And like that is what die trying is. So to shorten it, die trying. But that's the whole
Yeah.
spiel of it.
Dude, that's really fucking cool. Yeah, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, man. So I've got it on me a couple of places. There are a few homies that have it too. I've been told I'm a cult leader, but obviously it's since dissolved. But yeah, it's kind of like my I think my whole identity. Like when I remember when I moved to J3U, that was like my biggest sacrifice that I was willing to make. And I think to show to like Luke and John, and everybody else, like what it meant to me to be a part of this team. And people ask me about it, and it's like I am die trying. Like that doesn't leave, right? Like it is who I am. Like again, it's tattooed on me, and it's what I will always be. Just because I'm it's a celebration of just obsessiveness. Like it doesn't the current chapter of life in the last well over a decade has been bodybuilding and coaching. But like, I love seeing anybody obsessed with fucking anything. If they let it consume them, I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Uh, on a lighter note, fast food games, we got two. Or yeah, Krispy Kreme versus Dunkin', KK all day.
Krispy Kreme all day. Yeah, yeah. Is Krispy Kreme like the go like outside of like the specialty bakeries and stuff, but like I think Krispy Kreme is the go. Like if we're like, hey, let's go get donuts, Krispy
Krispy,
Kreme. Right. Okay.
like, dude, a fresh does hot and ready signs on,
Yeah.
brother. I'll go through oncoming traffic if I have to get those fucking things.
The
Um,
first like four just dissolve in your mouth.
dude,
Like,
they're easy.
yeah, they're just there to make you thirsty.
Yeah, dude, it's to warm the jaw up. It's like, now we're moving. Now we got to pump. Um,
What's your favorite? If you all right, you're picking 12, you're getting a dozen donuts. What are you getting?
okay. From KK. All
Yeah.
right. I'm getting three original. Um, I'm getting, oh shit. Dude, it's been a minute since I've had donuts now that I think of it. I'm getting maple cream. I'm getting a sour cream. I'm getting, or an old fashioned, excuse me. Um, I'm getting a blueberry cake if it's warm. I'm getting the birthday cake one because I'm gross like that. Oh shit, what else do they even have?
I didn't even know they had any of those.
Dude, you got to keep up, man. I'll teach you one day. Um, that strawberry one that was pretty banging way back when. I don't know. The older I get, the more I value a good cake donut when it's warm.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you?
Dude, I'm so simple. We're going six glaze and six chocolate with sprinkles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
we're just back and forth and
I like that. I
just
like that.
double team.
I will say where Dunkin' does excel is one, not their coffee. They're so unbelievably inconsistent with their coffee. Their munchkins and their muffins.
The Munchkins, a little mini donut. Like, yeah, those fucking, yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are, yeah.
yeah. Their muffins are great too.
Krispy Kreme's never done the donut holes, have they?
No, you can buy them like I think in the store, but that's not the same.
No, no.
Those are old. Next one: Whopper versus Big Mac versus Dave's Double.
You're gonna hate my. I'm going Dave's double.
I don't hate that. I'll be honest with you, dude. I forget about Hardee's often. Um,
No. That's Wendy's. Wendy's. Yeah,
Wendy's. Oh fuck. Okay,
yeah.
I will have to disagree heavily.
What
Oh,
what's It's Hardee's the thick burger.
yeah.
Let's throw the thick burger in there.
Throw the thick burger in there too. Because the problem with Dave's is I got food poisoning one time.
Uh,
It's like I can't, it's hard for me to look back. I'm throwing the Whopper out. Like that's
Whopper's done. Yeah.
Whopper's done. Um, but for
See, my problem with Wendy's, like if I had to actually go get this, both Wendy's in my area, dude, you'd be there an hour. So like the reality of me going to get the Dave's double is probably zero. Um, so I would go with the thick burger from Hardee's if I had, yeah. Um, if McDonald's was the quarter pounder, the double quarter pounder, that's
all
reigns.
day,
Yeah.
all day. That's the goat. Yeah, dude, that one. And the thing is, dude, I don't even really like a Big Mac that much. It's too
Yeah,
much bread.
either. Yeah, way too much bread.
In this case, I can't believe I'm saying this as I am a diehard for the Golden Arches. I'd say a Dave's double because I will say Wendy's is great. Like they have high quality. I say high quality. Like that's like
Grass-fed beef.
yeah, yeah, dude, organic for sure.
Wagyu.
Yeah. That's I have to say that now. Yeah, whoever made this, why did we not do a double quarter pounder with cheese?
Yeah.
Maybe that'd
Well,
be too
I think McDonald's would win the fries, though. Yeah. Like McDonald's fries.
easy.
Oh,
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know because I feel like Wendy's has pretty good fries.
I don't feel like they're salty enough.
It's true. I will say in recent, like probably 2 weeks ago, I feel like if you have like McDonald's fries, you got to get them down when they're hot because the second they
Yeah.
hit roasted, it's not a good time.
So I'll say this: if it's like the night before the show or show day, Wendy's fries for sure. Um, it's because it's not so crazy salty, and you can tell they're real potatoes. McDonald's is pretty suspect on what
Mm.
that is. I don't know what McDonald's fries are actually.
I will say when I got those fries and two cookies, I couldn't have given a shit less what they were.
Yeah, then when they're hot though, and they're glistening, yeah,
Yeah, I
nothing.
was in it.
Do y'all have a Milo's there? You ever been
No,
up? Have you ever been to Milo's?
we have the sweet tea, but no, I've never been to Milo's.
All right. Next time you're in Birmingham, we're going to Milo's.
Yeah,
It's so good. All right.
now I want Milo's. I don't even know what they've got, but I want it.
Dude, they have these they're like curly they're crinkle cut fries with this cheese powder on it. And they've got they call them toasted cheeses, but they're grilled it's just like a grilled cheese on like a bun. They got chicken fingers, they got really good burgers. It's yeah, why the fuck don't I eat there more? I don't know. It's right up the street. So yeah.
I've seen one. I can now understand Alabama's obesity rate like that. Because, dude, I would be 5,000 pounds.
Because you wash it down with a sweet tea and do they have apple pie? It's yeah. Yeah, we gotta go.
Let me look at my calendar because I'm going to come down there soon for that. Um, that sounds phenomenal. Well, everybody, we're sorry about the delay. We'll still get you 52 episodes. What 50? I
Yeah.
think that's I think it's the one throwaway we get is that one. So we're
We'll
still on
make
track.
up. We'll make up for it.
We also other exciting news. Let me pull up the app so we can see numbers for all of our Spotify listeners. Last episode's been doing great. We finally broke 30,000 plays. Pretty sick. Did not expect that to happen anytime soon. So we do appreciate you guys for listening to us yap every sometimes week. I won't say that now. We're almost at 400 followers. So again, like as we continue to say, genuinely, thank you guys who do participate every week, whether it's asking questions, commenting, sharing, trying to promote us, trying to get us out there to more people, or even coming up and talking to us in the gym or at shows about the podcast. Like it's a very surreal feeling to think that like almost 31,000 times we've been heard. Like
Yeah.
that's
And you guys let us know what guests you guys would may want us to get on the podcast too. Because we're making a list now and it's gonna be pretty good.
if you can comment below. Again, for those on Spotify, if you can subscribe, follow us, excuse me, leave us a 5-star review, share on Instagram, Facebook, wherever it may be. If you're watching on Luke's channel, if you can subscribe to him, because I know like half of you are not. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, thank you for listening to J3U After Hours.